Right, welcome back. Continuing work on with the chassis, I'm on step 25. And it's mounting the wheels and the suspension caliper rods into the chassis and the interior cockpit all at the same time. So going on to step 25, that's what it's telling you to do. Mount the wheels into the underneath chassis, and then the actual cockpit I should say, and then mounting the underneath chassis plate onto that. Trying to get all these, trying to get all these to mount up at the same time was very difficult. I'd get some mounted and then they'd pop out and then have to redo it. It was very difficult indeed, just a heads up. Right, so this is going to take a little bit longer to explain. So you can see in the fender well there, you got the two suspension coil rods with the wheels, that's jabbing through there. And then you got the mounting pins there, the triangle mounting pins that was mounted onto the bottom chassis plate. Now with the front ones, you can't glue these in, as it says there. You can't glue them in, no glue. The rear ones, you can glue those in, that's not a problem. So I mounted the front ones in first, and then I turned this upside down, and then I just mounted them in the holes, just rested them in the holes of the fender well. And then trying to align everything up at the same time with the plate was an absolute nightmare. I'd get these pins mounted in, then I've got to try and mount these pins in, and I had to drill through the underneath chassis plate, because the raised hole, which was probably about 3mm high, I had to widen it, but it wouldn't go right in, so I had to drill right through, so those come right through. And you can see the glue mark there. It's ran the black glue, the black paint, so I'm gonna have to top that up. But like I said, you got to mount it underneath there, as you could probably just make out through there, and that one as well. But then you've also, turning this back over, you've got to mount the actual cockpit part of the chassis into two little mounting holes there, and mounting pegs that are on the underneath chassis plate on the front. And on the rear, it's just underneath there, it's like a square tab with a rod on it, and then you've got a raised hole there. Again, it's about 3mm, 4mm deep. And trying to get those to line up was a nightmare as well, because I get them to line up and then these would pop out. So it's very difficult indeed. So on the rears, you just put a drop of glue there and there, so you can put those in. But the only problem was these wheels kept wanting to dry wonky, both sides. So I just flattened some blue tack and just put that in there like that, one there. And then I've got another piece of blue tack, and I'll put another piece of blue tack in there like that to keep them straight. And now the glue's dried, these rear wheels are now straight. But the reason you can't glue the front wheels in, because they've got to be free moving. So I'm going to demonstrate that. You can see they're free moving in the holes, and they're connected with the little rod, and the rod has got hooks on it, as you can see on the plans there. You just connect them to the hooks onto little rods on the back of the front wheels, and that's why that's free moving. So just a heads up, when you get to this stage, it's going to be very difficult indeed, but I got there in the end. Right, welcome back. Now the interior body shell and cockpit stroke chassis is all done. It's time to start work on the outer body shell. So the outer body shell starts from step 26, because step 25 was doing all that. Right, so step 26, you start with the interior body shell. You paint the inside silver,
You've got that bit on the rear bumper that's black, and you've got to mount the front headlamp assembly in. So you've got the two headlamps and a strip to hold them into place. You paint that silver, a bit of clear orange and a bit of black. So that's step 26. Right, so there it is, all mounted inside. You've got a locator pin there and a locator pin there. So you just put the glue there, locate your pins and put a clamp here and a clamp here. Then you've got the headlamps themselves. You run the glue around the edges and there, and then just put a clamp through the fender well there and there to hold that into place, and that's what it looks like jabbing through the front. Right, then step 27. You got the roof scoop, which I put on when I primered the body shell. You got a front windscreen which has to be painted on black on the bottom piece, and that's mounted from the inside. You got your rear screen, which is mounted from the outside, and then you got the bits of various detailing. So you got black for the door frames where the windows go. You got black for the bonnet vents, and black for the Citroen grille and the air mesh on the front bumper. Right, so there's the Citroen grille and the mesh. I painted that in gloss black I should say. Then you've got the vents on the bonnet. Those are painted in matte black. You've got the black for the bottom of there on the windscreen, and you've got the rear screen, which has to be glued on from the outside. So that's all that done. I just use the glue and glaze and my clamps and hold that all in. Now the front windscreen mounts from the inside. You've got a pinhole there and a pinhole there with the pins. You've got a pinhole here and a pinhole there with the pins. I had to widen the holes slightly on the front screen. Once that was mounted in properly, I then just got my glue and glaze, clamp there, and I clamped it through the window hole here, and I clamped it through the window hole here. And that's pretty much that done. The rear screen, again from the outside, just ran the glue and glaze. I put a clamp here from the fender well, put a clamp here from the fender well, and a bit of tape there and a bit of tape there. And that's that explained. Going on to step 28, turning the plans over. You've got all the other clear parts. So step 28, you've got your side windows, you've got your rear lights, clear pieces, and the front headlamp clear pieces. So I painted off on the inside with the black, bit of 1mm masking tape all the way around, and 2 coats of black on the inside. Once that was dry, I took the tape off, and then I just slotted them into place from the outside. Now, even though when I test fitted the rear screen I got it perfect, but you can see there's a gap here. That side went in perfect, but this side, because I'd glued it this way slightly, about 1mm, maybe 2, I had to shave off that part at the back. Just shaving and shaving and shaving. Once I got it right, I just then glued it into place. So for both sides I put a clamp here, I put a clamp here, and 2 strips of tape, one there, both sides. Let that dry. Took all the clamps off. Then it came to doing the rear lamp clear pieces. Now I just got my Tamiya X27 clear red. Just painted there. Leave that part and leave the middle part, but everything else is painted in red. Took 2 coats. Once that dry, I then just ran my glue and glaze, clamp here and a clamp here, and then just clamp those into place, and then we've glued in perfect. The front headlamps, I had to shave the bits of flash off. Once I'd done that, test fitted them, they fitted perfect. So I just ran the glue and glaze all the way around, clamp here and a clamp here, and a clamp here. But what I don't get is they've been cut out here. I don't know why there's a gap there. Weird. But now all the windows are done. These two headlamps there, these two headlamps here. The shell is now ready to be mounted onto the interior. Right, I've now mounted the body shell onto the interior. Very difficult indeed. Step 30, it looks relatively simple, but trust me, it isn't. So it's telling you to put the back part on first and then bring the front down while upside down. So you've got these two C-shape clips here on the back there, which mount onto the back plate. There's a little cutout section. You'll see them once you put them on. So you've got to manoeuvre that into place first, upside down. What you've got to do is you've got to bend that out slightly and that out slightly. So putting the foam back down, you'll have to bend these out slightly as you put it in. And the catches are just underneath here, so you push that catch in both sides once you get it, manoeuvre it into place. And then you bring the forward into place, bending out slightly and bending the bumper out slightly. And then just underneath here, there's like an L-shaped clip, as it says on the plans there. And that mounts into like a little clip on the inside of the front bumper. And then eventually, all you've got to do then, once you've located that, you just get your knife down the sides, just manoeuvre it slightly. And down the back, just manoeuvre that slightly, and then all the sides will lock into place just with a bit of manoeuvring with your thin knife. And that's pretty much it. And that's all now mounted on there like that. So now, what I didn't explain, before I did all the detailing, I sprayed the body shell in the primer, as you know, and then I just went with the white primer on top of that, and then the Halford's gloss white appliance spray paint. Just did one coat with a touch up here and there. So, and let that dry, and obviously did all the rest after that. So all I've got to do now is start decaling. Right, welcome back. One quick update before I start decals. Now the only construction I've got left to do is on step 29. So you've got the two wing mirrors, you've got the two windscreen wipers, the two aerials, and the rear spoiler. Now I won't be doing any of this until decaling's done. But the main thing I wanted to show you was the rear spoiler. Now I've just test fitted it, and you can see it looks really, really nice on the Citroen. Now with the rear spoiler, I've just got to quickly pull it out like that. On the rear screen, you've got a little cutout there and a little cutout here. And then on the actual rear spoiler, you've got like a little triangular tab there and a little triangular tab there. And that, you just line them up to the cutouts and you just simply put them in like that, and it just rests in the little holes. So I've just got to put a drop of glue in there and a drop of glue in there once I've done all the decaling. And that's how easy that rear wing goes in, because the Citroen looks really, really nice now, and just by itself without the decals. So with that being said, the next update will be the finale once I finish the decals.